There comes a time in life when the roles between parents and children start to shift. After decades of raising, guiding, and sacrificing for them, you might suddenly notice things have changed. Maybe your kids ignore your advice, brush off your opinions, or talk down to you. Worse, they might make you feel like a burden, which can hurt deeply. If your children are treating you with less respect than you deserve, you might feel frustrated or even angry. You may want to remind them of everything you've done for them, the years you put their needs first. But here's the truth. Getting angry won't fix it. In fact, it can make things worse. Instead, there are better ways to earn their respect back without fighting, arguing, or holding grudges. Today, I'll share 6 actions you can take when your kids don't respect you. These are powerful shifts and simple changes in how you respond that can change how they see you. Some of these ideas might surprise you. Stick around until the end, and you'll learn how to reclaim your place as a respected and valued figure in their lives. Action 1. Stop seeking their approval. One of the biggest mistakes parents make, especially as they age, is trying too hard to please their kids. You might find yourself going out of your way to accommodate them, saying yes when you want to say no, or always putting their needs above your own. You might hope that by doing enough, they'll appreciate you more, but the hard truth is, the more you chase their approval, the less respect you get. Respect doesn't come from self-sacrifice, it comes from self-respect. If you keep bending over backward to keep the peace, you teach your kids that your feelings come second. Once they believe that, it's easy for them to take you for granted. I once knew a woman named Susan, a strong and independent person in her younger years. As she got older, she started letting her kids make all the decisions, rearranging her schedule to fit their needs, keeping her opinions to herself, and even ignoring how they spoke to her. "I just want to keep the family together," she told me. But what happened? Her kids stopped valuing her. They saw her as someone who would always agree and stay quiet. She thought she was keeping the peace, but in reality, she was losing her voice. If your kids don't respect you, the first step isn't to demand respect but to stop acting like you need it. Set boundaries. Say no when you need to. Speak your mind, even if they don't like what you say. When you start respecting yourself, they'll start seeing you differently. And over time, that respect will come back. Action 2. Don't argue, lead by example. When your kids dismiss your opinions or treat you disrespectfully, your instinct might be to argue or remind them of everything you've done for them. But arguing rarely works. Think about the last time you convinced someone to respect you through a fight. Respect isn't won with words, it's earned through your presence, how you carry yourself, and how you respond when others test your patience. If you meet disrespect with anger, you only reinforce their belief that they have power over you. I knew a man named Michael, a retired teacher who had confidently led a classroom. At home, though, his grown kids started treating him like an afterthought. At first, he argued back, trying to prove he still deserved their respect. But the more he fought, the worse things got. Then, one day, Michael changed his approach. Instead of arguing, he started listening, really listening. He stopped chasing respect with words and carried himself like someone who already had it. He spoke calmly and wisely, without needing to win. Gradually, his kids noticed a man who didn't desperately seek their approval, a figure of strength. If your kids don't respect you, don't fight for it. Show them what respect looks like through how you treat yourself. Keep your dignity, speak with confidence, and never stoop to their level. When you hold your ground gracefully, they'll feel it, and over time, they'll follow your lead. Action 3. Let go of emotional dependence. One of the toughest lessons as you age is that you can't rely on your kids for emotional fulfillment. You might love them deeply and want their love and respect in return. But when they sense you need them to feel valued, the balance of the relationship shifts. When you depend on your kids for validation, affection, or attention, it puts pressure on them. Instead of feeling grateful, they might feel weighed down and start pulling away. The more you chase their love, the less freely they'll give it. I once knew a woman named Emily, a devoted mother who had given everything to her kids. As they grew older and busier, she found herself waiting by the phone, hoping they'd call. When they didn't, she called them, often too much, reminding them how much she missed them and wishing they'd visit more. Instead of bringing them closer, This pushed them further away. They started seeing her calls as obligations rather than something to look forward to. Then, one day, Emily made a change. She stopped waiting and stopped calling first. Instead, she focused on herself, picking up new hobbies, going out with friends, and taking care of her own happiness. Surprisingly, her kids started calling more often. They began to value her time and see her as someone with a full life. The lesson is clear. The less you depend on your kids for validation, the more they'll value your presence. When they see you standing strong on your own, they'll respect you, not out of duty, but because they genuinely admire the life you've built. Action 4. Set boundaries and stick to them. A big reason kids lose respect for their parents is that parents allow it. If you let your kids talk to you disrespectfully, dismiss your opinions, or treat your time and feelings as unimportant, they'll keep doing it, not because they're bad people, but because people, especially family, will treat you the way you let them. Setting boundaries doesn't mean cutting off your kids or starting fights. It means calmly and firmly deciding what behavior you'll accept and what you won't, and following through when those lines are crossed. I remember a man named David, a retired businessman who had run a company with confidence, but he struggled with his adult kids, who interrupted him, brushed off his concerns, and criticized his lifestyle. At first, he put up with it, telling himself it wasn't worth a fight. But over time, he realized that every time he stayed quiet, he was teaching them their behavior was okay. So, David changed his approach. When his son interrupted him, he calmly said, "I'll keep talking when you're ready to listen." When his daughter dismissed his opinion, he replied, "You don't have to agree with me, but I expect you to respect me." When they kept pushing, he made it clear that if they couldn't treat him with basic respect, he wouldn't spend time with them. What happened? They started listening. At first, they pushed back, but over time, they saw their dad wasn't backing down. They realized he valued himself enough to demand respect, and as a result, they started giving it to him. If your kids don't respect you, ask yourself, are you allowing it? If you don't set boundaries, they won't set them for you. And if you don't stand up for yourself, no one else will. Action 5. Stop giving without appreciation. One of the fastest ways to lose respect is to keep giving to people who don't appreciate it. As parents, we often do this without realizing it. We offer our time, energy, and support, even when it's ignored or taken for granted. When this happens, we don't build love or respect, we create expectations. When people stop seeing your kindness as valuable, they start feeling entitled to it. The moment you stop giving, they might not feel grateful but inconvenienced. I once knew a man named Stephen, a father who had always been generous with his kids. He helped them financially whenever they needed it, dropped everything to lend a hand, and rearranged his life for their needs. But instead of gratitude, he got complaints. His kids expected more and didn't appreciate his efforts. When he needed their help, they were too busy. Then, Stephen made a change. He stopped overextending himself and started saying no when he needed to. At first, his kids were frustrated and confused by his new boundaries. But over time, something shifted. They began to value his time and appreciate his efforts. Realizing his generosity wasn't endless, it was a gift, not a given. If you feel your kids don't respect your time, effort, or kindness, take a step back. Ask yourself if you're giving more than you should. If you are, think about what would happen if you stopped. By showing them that your generosity depends on respect, they'll start treating it that way. Action 6. Build a life beyond them. One of the most powerful ways to regain your kids' respect is to show that your happiness doesn't revolve around them. While it's natural for parents to devote themselves to their children, if you've spent your whole life prioritizing them, they might start seeing you as someone without a life of your own. People respect those who have their own purpose, interests, and sense of fulfillment. If your kids see you relying on them for entertainment or validation, they might feel smothered or view you as less independent. I knew a woman named Patricia, a widow in her late 70s. After her husband passed away, she poured everything into her kids' lives, constantly checking in, giving unsolicited advice, and expecting them to fill the void left by her husband. Instead of bringing them closer, this pushed them away. They visited less, their calls got shorter, and Patricia felt more and more alone. Then, she made a choice. She joined a book club, started traveling with friends, and volunteered at a local community center. By shifting her focus away from her kids, something amazing happened. They started reaching out more, curious about her new activities, and they admired her independence. They began to respect her. If your kids don't respect you, think about whether they see you as someone with a full life or as someone waiting for their attention. When you show them you're living fully, not just existing, they'll start to see you differently. Final thoughts. Respect isn't something you can demand from your kids. It's something you inspire through how you carry yourself. Set boundaries and live your life. If they've started treating you with less care or consideration, don't waste your energy getting mad. Instead, change your approach. Stop chasing their approval. The less you need it, the more they'll give it. Lead by example, because your dignity speaks louder than words. Let go of emotional dependence. The more self-reliant you are, the more they'll respect your presence. Set boundaries. People will treat you as well as you require them to. Stop giving without appreciation. When generosity is taken for granted, it loses its value. Most importantly, build a life beyond them. People respect those who have their own purpose, joy, and fulfillment. If you put these strategies into action, something incredible will happen. Your kids will start seeing you in a new light, not as someone waiting for their attention, but as someone who commands respect just by being you. In time, that respect will come back, not because you demanded it, but because you earned it. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Please leave a comment below sharing one thing you learned today and how you plan to apply it in your life. Your thoughts matter to us, and reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us keep creating valuable content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.